Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Today we've got some pretty cool little races going on. So the first one I'm going to show you guys is a 10-lapper at Autodromo de Interlagos. I'm racing in a SLS AMG GT3, which I think, I'm not really sure, but it seems kind of like it's just a bit worse than the AMG, what's it called, AMG GT or whatever it is? The newer one anyway. Coming down into turn one anyway, it was a little bit messy. I went down the left inside, just about had enough room to the left of the Beetle. I did bump him slightly. There was a bit of, I don't know, something going on the outside, but I just about held it. Then slid a little bit coming around that long left-hander, but somehow came away with 6th position whilst all hell is breaking loose behind me and the Beetle gets ruthlessly shown wide there for this guy Killian 1 to come through just behind me. He goes up the outside. I take a little bit too narrow of a line, so I don't get a very good run out of that double right-hander. So he gets the inside line and just kind of, he clips my right back wing, I guess, and it just puts me into a bit of a slide. I lose the car just slightly, and it's enough for him to slip by whilst all hell is breaking loose behind me there. Some guy pointing 90 degrees the wrong way on the track and fortunately being ghosted out so everyone can get through there. Anyway, so I'm in 7th place. I started in 7th place, so I've kind of gone up a little bit and come down a little bit, and we're just coming up now to the end of lap 1, and I'm back where I started. I've got a German here in front of me, then a Spaniard, a couple more Germans, and an Italian who is leading the race and already getting a little bit away from the rest of the pack. So coming down that straight, I got a pretty good run in the slipstream. This car seems to be a little bit quicker than the Porsche there. One guy facing the complete wrong way at the end of the main straight there. Not quite sure what happened to him. However, I did run deep a little bit. I think the added speed from the draft just kind of threw my lines off a little bit, so I just ended up braking a bit too deep, and the German gets the cut back on me. So I do move up into 7th, passing the guy facing the wrong way. However, coming into this left-hander here, I just get literally like dive bomb down the left-hand side. He completely nudges me out to the right. I lose 7th, 8th, and 9th, so that puts me back into 10th position, which I was a little bit annoyed about because that guy had no right coming in down that left-hand side. I even saw him dive bombing me, so held out wide instead of coming across the apex, and he still shunted me out to the right. So that was pretty disgraceful there. I do manage to come back onto the tail of this guy as he makes a mistake, and there's a guy again facing the wrong way. Seems to be a bit of a common theme here, people facing the wrong way on track. So I do take 9th place. I did overtake this other Brit, Johnny 340. I did manage to kind of pass him for just a moment, but he had the inside line and then just kind of showed me wide a bit. So he manages to take 8th. I'm in 9th now. So at the end of lap 2 going into lap 3, I'm down 2 more positions from where I was a lap ago. So things not going so well. Then some more chaos. 3 cars shown wide there. I'm not really sure what happened. I think 2 Porsches got tangled up coming into turn 1, and then that other Brit seemed to just kind of get dragged wide by it. Sometimes when you're watching drivers in front of you, it kind of like you're drawn into their line, so he seemed to run wide, and I just did a nice little triple overtake to put me into 6th place pretty nicely and hot on the tail of the German guy in the Porsche, I think that is. No, sorry, it's in the RCZ, the Peugeot. So it seems like at the moment the 2 cars that are kind of reigning kings in GT3 is this this RCZ, which has recently been increased slightly, so it's actually really good. I noticed he was able to get on the power a lot earlier than me. With this SLS, if you put your foot down, the back just comes out, so you've got to be very careful coming out of the slow corners, whereas it seemed as if the guys in the Peugeots were able to just pretty much stamp it and zoom out of the exits. I do get a little bit of a chance here coming around the outside of this long right-hander, but I go for the brake and take the normal line. I don't want to risk going around the outside there, especially because of that off camber. You can kind of get thrown wide, so I didn't want to risk that. And again, a few more little chances following him in 6th place, but nothing too good at the moment. But yeah, as I was saying, the best cars seem to be that Peugeot and the Porsche RSR. Anyway, eventually that guy seems to get the wrong memo about where the turn is and goes too early and turns straight into the wall. So I take 5th position, and then it was a pretty boring race. I nearly got caught there, and then a guy in 4th crossing the line was slowing down. I don't know if he's trying to block me for his friend behind, because they were both Germans, maybe they were mates, or he might have been trying to run down some penalties. But he does just cross the line in front of me, so I take 5th position and keep 5th position. So I did move up 2 places in the end, so fairly happy with that, and it was an interesting race. Anyway, we're moving now onto the Nürburgring GP. This is a daily race in the Ford Focus RS, or is it ST? I don't know. RS or ST, in the Ford Focus anyway. And I just want to point something out here. So someone commented, basically, I think he was trying to, you know, basically say that I was bad. Which is, I don't know, I don't mind being called bad, but he was basically saying, oh, why are you posting videos of me finishing in like 5th or whatever it might be? And I said, well, if I posted a video of me finishing first, for the most part, they're pretty boring. So this is a prime example of why I don't post videos of just me winning, because there's a nice easy win, qualified in 1st, finished in 1st, never saw a single person, so it's not a very interesting race. Then I did another one and the exact same thing happened. However, this guy, Cryptoman, in 2nd place, the Germans, in fact there's 2 Germans in this race, 2nd and 3rd, so they're multiplying, and then we go to the 3rd race and there's 4 Germans, and in fact Cryptoman, who finished in 2nd in both of those 2 races, is now qualified in front of me, so he obviously increased his time. I was just having breaks between the races, but he obviously increased his time. So I'm going to go wide around the first turn. I noticed that actually all of these guys broke really early for that first turn, so people were taking their normal braking markers for the first turn, but you don't start accelerating till about halfway down that first straight, so you can actually brake a lot later. So I was ending up being forced wide on like all of those. I do just give here Pez Paddy a little bit of a bump, but I don't think it did him any problems there. It probably slowed me down if anything. But yeah, so these 4 Germans kind of like made a little bit of a team. I think we had 3 races in a row with all 4 of these guys and myself. Again, a little bit of a love tap for Pez Paddy coming out of Dunlop there, and just quite a nice little shot coming through Schumacher S's. I do really like these slower car races. It's kind of more intricate and interesting, and the passing can be quite tricky, especially in a short race, but it certainly makes it a close race, and you can get real, you know, really good, nice close racing, which can be quite good fun. I did have one race with these guys which went horribly wrong. I just got, you know, I made a mess, I think, in turn 1, and then I just got shunted around all over the place and ended up in like 8th place or something, which didn't go too well. Anyway, I do eventually get a nice cutback on Pez Paddy coming through the chicane, managed to just about make it stick, coming around the final turn onto the main straight. He's just behind me there. He then goes down to get the draft, moves out to the outside. I take the inside line, going onto the back of the car here. You can see he goes round to the wide outside line, and this guy here just behind me seems to come alongside him, shows that cone where to go. Doesn't manage to make it stick. Pez Paddy goes back into 5th. I take 4th, and I do actually manage to make 4th hold. And then check this out. Oh, fucking inches away. If he had clipped that, that would have been absolute disaster coming around that final turn. So lap 3 out of 3 then. And I do manage to take 4th place, so made 1 position. And then 4th and final race here, same thing against all the Germans in 1st to 4th. Again, they're braking like way early. This guy particularly, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, Kustenbel 7, broke quite early, so I broke out the outside and round in, tucked in behind him, and we're just going to kind of form a nice little line here. So there's 4 Germans, myself, and then an Italian just behind me. Seemed to be a common thing to run wide there on that exit coming out of that right-hander. It was pretty not much happening for most of this race, so all the way up into the final lap, and I'm still in 5th, and this is where the big move happens. So coming down into Dunlop, still in 5th position, Kustenbel goes wide here, so I take the inside line. He then turns into me. I think that was a fair move. Then Redwing goes wide and very slowly. I tried to avoid him, and turned back into Kustenebel, which was probably my bad. We then go too wide through the Schumacher S's, held that very nicely, no contact at all there, so that was nice and clean, and I do manage to get the run on Red Wing down here, coming into the kind of the back straight, managed to make it stick, so I take 3rd position. And we're just going to watch this again because the guy messaged me feeling hard done by, and I don't think it was that bad, so I feel like that was fair. I had the inside line. This here is then my fault. I misjudged where he was. I was trying to avoid Red Wing, and I didn't realise he had a bit of an overlap, and I did bump him. And then coming around the first Schumacher S bit there's actually no contact. It was very, very close, but it was no contact between myself and Red Wing, so again, that was fair. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think about that. I felt like, okay, yeah, when I turned across to avoid Red Wing, that probably was my fault, but I think the initial move, to me, that felt like, you know, taking an opportunity which you should be taking. You know, if I didn't go there, then I wouldn't really be trying to race here, would I? That would just be a bit boring. I think that was fair. Anyway, I managed to make 3rd stick, and we come across the line, 3rd position. So nice few races there. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I'll see you in the next one.